I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, attendance and appointment of alternates. So, Cindy at this time is not here, so if I could have a motion to put Alan in as an alternate until Cindy arrives, or if she does arrive.
I move to appoint Alan Baker as an alternate until Cindy arrives. Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion clearly passes. All right, so on to approval of agenda. Does anybody want to add anything before we do that? Any additions?
I do.
Okay.
At the Board of Selectmen meeting on January 18th, there was a discussion and a vote for a recording secretary for the Charter Revision Study Committee, and I feel I would like to make a motion that it be added to our agenda so we can vote on that.
Okay, we'll add recording secretary for, what was it for?
Charter Revision.
For Charter Revision.
I did print out all the minutes from that meeting for everyone as
All right,
well.
so we'll just put it under new business, letter E, to discuss it.
Is there a motion?
Pardon?
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I move to add recording secretary for the Charter Revision Study Committee to new business.
Letter E. Yep.
Letter E.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Anything else? Or would somebody like to move to approve the agenda?
Can I move the Board of Ed up?
Oh, yeah. We talked about it, so I
Yes, I'll move to take new business item A, Board of Education, out of order, and put it after communications.
Is there a second?
Second.
And any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion clearly passes. Okay. So,
I'll move to approve the agenda as corrected, amended, however you word it.
second.
Second.
And any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion clearly passes. Okay, on to approval of minutes, special meeting January 17th.
I move to approve the minutes of the special meeting on January 17, 2018.
There's one correction.
Okay, is it, wait, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all right, any discussion? Go ahead.
Cindy Kearns is listed as both present and absent.
I didn't look at the
You're
agenda.
pretty special, you can do that.
How you doing?
Was she here? Or was she absent?
She was absent.
Okay.
So.
All right, anything else? All right, so all those in favor to approve the meeting minutes as amended?
Aye.
Opposed? And it passes. All right, on to public participation. Bob's here. Public participation, anything before I go past that?
Nothing at this time.
All right, we're moving on. All right, communication. Right now, I actually got a communication. I'm only going to share it with you because it seems to be a topic that has come up. And I think that we are just going to, I'm not sure how we're going to handle it, but I think it's going to be on another agenda. But I unfortunately got a Facebook Messenger from somebody that I have, okay, let me start by saying Facebook to me is like, I'm there, but I just kind of read stuff. I post every now and then when I can figure out how to do a picture. So other than that, I'm saying to my son, what am I doing? How do you do this? And he just laughs at me. Today, though, my cousin sent a message in Messenger, and my phone made a strange noise as I was sitting at my desk, and I went, oh, what's that? So I went and looked. I looked and saw that also on Saturday, I received a Facebook Messenger post that came from a taxpayer, a townsperson, who had sent me one way back when with our old board, and I kind of just ignored it. And I couldn't figure out how they got on my messenger, so somehow, I don't know, I must have done something, because don't you have to approve people or something, right? But anyways, so after it beeped, Saturday at like 7 o'clock, I got a text that said, Marilyn, you need to just shut up. So, since we were on our whole being talked to, like getting letters in our personal mail, getting like not very friendly messengers in our Facebook, I just think it's something we have to be really keenly aware of, and I think maybe we need to discuss it on our next month's agenda, and just how that line of your privacy and your personal life, but we put ourselves out there, and I said it at the selectmen's meeting, we put ourselves out there. So, you know, if you can't handle it, you shouldn't do it. And I made that very clear when they discussed their second public participation. So I'm not saying that we close ourselves off to people, but I think it warrants us just kind of having a discussion, and I don't know, just how we can better watch out for ourselves and actually communicate to each other or to me if anything is happening, or if you are having a problem, because then we really need to go to probably Bob and probably the town attorney or something and try to figure something out. But that was my only communication this week, so I thought I would share it with you. All right, and now we're moving the BOE up.
Thank you.
Not a problem at all.
Very much. So, I have it in now,
Okay.
and I did it big enough for me to read, so I'm going to big enough for.
You mean it's not like your budget?
No.
Where I need a microscope?
I'll go through, obviously, this. So, bear with me if you would. But what, we've obviously been having many, many conversations about the state of the Board of Ed budget, and realized what the state of our current budget is looking like. And part of the conversation that has come up is that our laptops that were purchased with a state grant that we were awarded, it was a competitive grant when we applied for it 4 years ago, and Ty, our IT director, and I wrote the grant and got it, which we were happy about. Of course, the year after they made it, everybody got it, but so that was everything. We still won. Still won.
Yeah.
So that's how we started getting our one-to-ones, and we have moved rapidly in moving toward having one-to-one devices for all of our students right now. Everybody in grades 3 through 12 has a device. That's our primary instructional device. We haven't purchased textbooks in years, many years. And unfortunately, the first round of devices that we purchased are coming to the end of their warranty. So we need to look at a replacement cycle. So that's what I want to talk to you guys about. The town has done what appears to look like an excellent job in setting yourselves up in a good financial position. And this fiscal year, I know that you budgeted very conservatively with the ECS money. So there's about, after we take out the Alliance amount, there's just over $900,000 more that came in ECS than what you folks budgeted for, which was good, better than the reverse. Definitely better than the reverse. So I guess I'd like to talk with you about the state of our laptops and potential ECS money. So if you'll bear with me and let me go through then. So as I said, we have laptops for every student, grades 3 through 12. Students at the high school take them home, are able to take them home every day. As I said, we have not purchased textbooks in years. The social studies textbooks that we last got rid of didn't have the most current, like 5 presidents in them. Given that the new state standards for science are out and will be tested on them next school year, our science textbooks are out of date. So we would be in a dire strait in terms of physical hardcover textbooks if we needed to go in that direction. We have to have technology available to us to do the state testing. Smarter Balance is administered by computer. That's why they started the grant all those years ago, to give districts a leg up in terms of buying the technology. We would eliminate the online portal, which is a huge method that we use to communicate with parents and students. We would have to reallocate space. I don't even want to say the S word with Broadbrook because we just got some more, so I don't want to talk about having to potentially reallocate. But we've taken away pretty much all the computer labs because we don't need labs if we have computers. We would also have to repurchase desktop units because we can't go without technology. I mean, just email for communication dictates that we have some technology. And then we would significantly be impacting our students' abilities to learn 21st century skills, some of which are technology-related, communication, problem solving. So there's a variety of reasons that it makes sense for us to be looking to maintain technology in the district. Not the least of which is the year that we started the one-to-one initiative, we had almost, we had a very minimal number of students go out of district that freshman year, so that was positive. So if we were to go without a lease and keep the current laptops that we have, we lose about $50 a month to damage of the student laptops, and it's not necessarily intentional damage. I mean, they're a device about this big. Sometimes they fall. The plugs for the chargers get loose. We have teenagers using electronics, so if any of you who've had to replace smartphones know how those things happen. They break, they crack.
Good question.
Yeah.
So, but if who, and not to have this sound wrong, but like my son, what they call Chromebook, right? Has a Chromebook.
We don't
he
have
comes
Chromebooks,
home
but yep.
all the time.
Yep.
But if he breaks it, he signed a contract, and
So
not he has to pay for it, because
right.
where would he get the money? But
Mom
I
has to
would
pay
end,
for it.
yeah, exactly. So
Right.
who decides whether, what if somebody chucks it across the room? And you know what I'm saying? What's
We do send the bill to the parent.
Okay.
Yeah. Right now, the warranty will not cover intentional damage. So certainly if we have people who've witnessed a student damaging a device, or we happen to have it on security or something to that end, and we have strong evidence to support, or if Dell, who's the vendor that we have our devices through, if they send it back to our IT folks going, yeah, there's no way this was an accident, we have history, blah, blah, blah. So we will send a bill to the parent, but right now, most of the repairs have been accidental wear and tear, and so they're repaired under the warranty.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're not, it's about $100 to $200 per repair. So we'd be spending about $75,000 a year just to repair the current devices that we have if we don't have a warranty. Or we deplete our inventory at about $500 a month, and we would be out of laptops pretty quickly. So I went through, this is the rate at which we acquired the laptops to begin with. So we acquired them over a 3-year cycle. You can see, I'm not going to read to you. The first year was the highest for teachers because we had teams of kids. So we started with 9th grade. So every teacher that taught 9th grade classes had to get a device so they could communicate with their students. So the first year we had a broader scope of staff that needed to get them. And obviously it decreased as, so that's the amount. So Ty, our IT director, got a number of different lease options, some buyout options. I'll share that with you. But looking at them, if we were to lease, the best option we felt would be a 5-year lease with a $1 buyout. So what that would mean is at the end of the 5-year lease period, we could buy all the devices for $1. Not $1 each, just $1, which is a pretty good price per computer if you break that down by 300. But what it would do is allow us to take the computers that have just come out of warranty, but we're still working well, and let our students in grades kindergarten through 2 use them, because they don't have state testing, they use them less frequently, they're always in school.
They don't take them home.
They don't. None of our students, grade 3 through 8, take them home. They leave them in school. Because we had tried 8th grade taking them home, didn't work out so well. The breakage rate was significantly higher, so we changed our plan after that first year. Obviously, with a longer lease, the annual rate is lower. So, you know, we would be able to keep them. We would have a nice rate of replenishment for our K-2 devices. Right now, a lot of the students K-2 are using iPads. So, which isn't really a great, it's a nice option, but when we need for the students to learn keyboarding so that they're functional to take our state test in 3rd grade, where they're required to do keyboarding, it doesn't really help them with that. So we'd like them to be able to use a device with a traditional keyboard on it. So, any questions so far?
What type of laptops do you have?
I'll
You
show
don't
you.
use Chromebooks.
We did a lot of research prior to the purchase, and you know, this is obviously a teacher version, but they're all Dell. The student device is a similar structure, but it does everything that we needed to do. It's got ports for thumb drives. So we did a lot of research. We had vendors, you know, about 4 vendors come in with different models of things, and this ended up being the best option, and they have really stood the test of time in terms of functionality, being able to do what we need done instructionally. So there are cheaper devices, but the concerns we had when we looked at them originally was that they didn't necessarily do all of what we needed, and we just felt like this was the most functional model. So,
I mean, is it similar to your Chromebook? Because a Chromebook has a lot of limitations because it doesn't have a lot of memory and stuff because everything is on the cloud.
we do have cloud structure in district. We use Office 365. So this has all the function of a desktop,
Yeah.
except it walks around with you.
But isn't so what I'm getting at is, isn't a Chromebook though a lot less expensive because it doesn't have all that memory and stuff?
They don't have
Memory's not
capability.
free.
Right, it doesn't have, it does not do what this does.
This runs Windows?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what are you looking at that a Chromebook doesn't do? Because of all the kids that I know, they have Chromebooks because they don't spend the extra money for the extra memory and stuff. They're using everything cloud-based.
I can't speak to a Chromebook. We didn't look at them. So, well, we haven't looked at them recently with this. They were looked at, you know, 5 years ago when we started, but I would not want to assume my memory is
Ty's the
accurate.
expert there too, so.
Okay. Because I just, like I said, a lot of schools use Chromebooks and they're much cheaper.
Well, I think quite truthfully, you get what you pay for. So,
This is a much better device for educational purposes.
so, to what I really would like to talk with you folks about is the lease. So, year 1, if we were to replace the devices, 240 student devices, 78 teacher, the cost would be $58,000 a year for 5 years, or certainly there's an outright purchase price. So I broke down the first 3 years of the amount of devices, the annual payment, and then the outright purchase price for each batch of computers. Alan, did I do something
Good. Nope,
goofy?
nope, nope.
Okay. Okay. So the last slide is the one that's, you know, a little bit scary on our end, and that's the cumulative cost of the leases. So obviously, the first year, it would only be $58,000 because it's one round of computers being replaced. Year 2, obviously, we have the year 1 replacement, and then we begin the year 2 lease, so they're cumulative. you know, after year 3, we basically would have some level of lease payment because we would be in a loop. You know, we would then be in a replacement loop. Cindy, I think this would be the point, you know, right now we're using numbers based on the current device that we have. That doesn't mean that, you know, Ty looks every year before we have to look to purchase new, you know, new computers, replacements of anything. Gets quotes from a variety of companies, compares the devices, compares the functionality, talks to the administrators, talks to some of our teaching staff. So every year he's revisiting what the best option is for us. So this makes an assumption on a couple levels that, one, the price of the lease won't change, which we know at some point there's a cost of living adjustment for a lease payment. It also makes the assumption that we're using the same device, which we may or may not be doing. So I can say we certainly wouldn't be looking to go more luxurious than this. You know, this is and this is a teacher version that's got more horsepower than the student version does.
How many years do you think you'll get out of it? And does the software need to be updated at any point? Or?
Yeah, we have licenses that do updating. Like we have a license for the whole district from Microsoft, and all of the things that we require get updated. So IT takes care of licensing for all of that. Any of the other programs that are available, we purchase licenses on a yearly basis. So some things that we have had, ABC Mouse at the elementary, things like that. Our state testing, our district testing, the STAR assessment, we have to purchase those, you know, that license every year. But anything else, Ty takes care of making sure that we have licensing and renewals.
Just a quick question, maybe I just missed something, but does the lease include the maintenance on them? How's the?
It's warranty.
So the lease is warranty?
Correct.
So
under the entire period of the lease, it's warranty.
Now, you list outright purchase, the outright purchase
would include a warranty.
includes warranty.
Correct.
And is it for the same for 5 years, like your lease would, you said it's gonna be 5 years?
Yes.
So
As
the
far as I
warranty
know,
to
yes.
a buyout would be 5 years?
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
So, I mean,
So-
the lease is really that's the big, I mean, the warranty is the big,
Yeah.
we really couldn't function without these things
Yeah.
being under warranty.
Right, exactly. And the other question would be, if you're saying Ty, make sure, you know, he gets his bids and all that kind of stuff. That is something though, that however we decide or where we decide to go, that we would have to have 3 clear bids for the same. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, yes, I understand what you're saying. We get costs, but part of what, you know, we don't make the decision about the purchase of the educational material based on the lowest bidder. We look at the device that is the most functional for us. So we're not going to get 3 bids necessarily on a Dell device. The bid comes from Dell. So, you know, we could certainly look for 3 different vendors who sell Dell, but it likely
Wouldn't be because it's Dell.
So this quote right here is direct from Dell itself, the manufacturer. This information you get here is from,
That's what Ty got when he works through, right now, he works through, oh my goodness, bear with me. He works with a vendor who gives us quotes on different amounts. But I do have a quote directly from Dell that if we had to replace desktops, it would be about $1,200 per unit, and that's a quote directly from Dell. So, but yes, the quotes that come are from the companies. So he's had quotes from Lenovo, from Dell. We have not looked at Apple. We're just not an Apple district, except for the phones.
We probably should though look at the quotes from other makers and look at the functionality. I mean, if we have you don't have a whole lot of money. I mean, there's different, you know, there's better, there's probably what this is, probably lesser functionality that a lot of schools do fine with. We should be able to look at that. I mean, I don't really understand like how much the difference would be and what the difference is.
I would not want to speak to that because I know that originally 4 years ago when we did the grant and we were awarded the money, we went through all of that, looking at what we needed from a curriculum standpoint. You know, some of the devices we looked at didn't have a port for a thumb drive.
Right.
Like,
4
well,
years.
that's not going to be functional. We need to have, you know, a port for a thumb drive.
And 4 years in tech is an eternity.
Absolutely. So, you know.
Which is why Ty's out doing the same thing when he has to start replacing,
Yeah,
he'll go through that
he
same
goes through
exercise.
all of that. And, you know, his determination at this point is the equivalent model of this is still the most efficient and effective for the needs that we've had. I agree, we could have less, but we would get less for less. You know, we
It wouldn't
definitely-
necessarily just be less technology, it may also be less reliability as well when you go to a lower device. And
I
when
guess
kids
that's
don't
what I'd
have
like
their
to see,
device,
yeah.
when kids don't have their device in class, that makes it harder for them to maintain, you know, at the level they need to be at. Then you need to have more spares, so kids, you know what I mean?
Which we have spares, but there are times we are out. We have students who go without because we've run out of spares. So either they forget or they didn't charge it, or, you know, all those typical teenage technology.
So just personally, that, I mean, just for me, speaking for myself, that's the kind of information I would want, especially knowing that I know so many schools that do, you know, that they have chosen the lesser and have done fine with. And we don't understand what the difference is. If it's a clear cut, we need this functionality and Chromebook doesn't have it. If it's just that, you know,
I can
the
get all of that
laptop,
info,
we want to
Cindy,
be,
I mean-
we want to have all the documents on the device rather than in the cloud. I mean, if it's specific things, but I think it's a big difference in
I can
price.
get all that information, I guess, two perspectives is one, not even knowing if you folks would be open to having the conversation. It didn't,
Right,
you
yeah,
know,
this
it
is just
didn't
the
seem
first
that that would
pass, okay.
necessarily be a level of information you'd want at this point.
Right.
And the other thing I respectfully would request that a lot of this information, you know, some of this decision-making, I think we would need to rely on Ty and the educational team to decide what's the best match
Well, and I think-
educationally.
Yeah, I think,
Although I understand your question.
I think one of the biggest things is, well, first of all, you saw the presentation and the question, as Christine just said, is it something that this board feels is important and you're open to looking at avenues, whether it be to buy outright, and that would be something we would have to discuss versus leasing, or if we're just not ready for this right now, where are all your heads wrapped around her presentation? Are you open to looking to getting this plan off the ground and getting them set to go? So I guess that would be the...
One thing we gotta keep in mind too is that schools are going away from textbooks, which is a huge expense. So in reality, I don't know what textbooks cost, but I just seen some college books there, like hell of a lot of money. And
Right?
then you have a book that 2 years down the road.
It's
something's
already
changed or
outdated,
whatever.
yeah.
I mean, just with, especially current event type ones, I mean,
Yeah.
English, whatever, so.
There are options. I did some
So-
looking.
So, I mean, in reality, part of your budget that would be in the, what I'll call the old days, old technology days, is a book. This is the new textbook.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to realize as a board and as a town, that, you know, if you, I just imagine this would have to go to a town meeting or something eventually, but
Oh, yeah.
we need to make sure that we understand that, I mean, we're not buying textbooks anymore, we are buying technology.
And to be honest, we haven't
New
bought
teaching.
textbooks in a long
Yeah.
time, which is why the social studies books that we threw out don't have the last 5 presidents in them. Because that is one of the things that has been traditionally, we've squeezed out of the budget. Okay, well, we'll go one more year with these math textbooks or with these social studies textbooks.
I will tell you,
When we had to cut.
we already use online textbooks for math at the elementary. We're in the middle of a 6-year lease, so we already are using online textbooks there. And all the textbooks that are being published now have an option to be purchased without an online component, but they all have an online component. That's, you know, I talked with one of the textbook companies tonight, and they said, well, everybody has a computer, so they do it as one element of it.
It's much easier to keep them up to date that way too. They don't get as stale.
Right,
Because
get
it's
an
easy
annual
to.
update.
It's damaged.
How would we be funding this, or looking at doing this, a lease purchase agreement, or?
Well, that's-
It can't be a capital,
No,
because it's
first,
recurring.
well, see, that's the other thing. Is it something that should have gone in front of CIP? Are we very, I mean, that's a discussion we have to have. That's what they're here presenting, and that's, that's a discussion, because just like the police cars, where they put them in for 3-4 years, so they get 1, they get 2, they get whatever, should they really be going to CIP, or is this something because they realize during their budget that it's more a quicker necessity? That's what we need to decide. Where are we going is what we need to decide.
And I should say, because I'm asking all these questions.
Yeah.
I want to just make
You
it
should.
known that you guys absolutely need some type of, I think, electronic, like 100%.
Yeah, and
that we
I
need
think
to
I would
do
have
this.
to-
Yeah, and I make note of your
Okay.
questions. I'll get that info if you guys want to
I
know.
just, I don't want it to sound like I don't think it's a good idea.
No, they're fair questions. I just didn't do it yet until I knew what your thinking was.
So, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I'm an IT professional, so I kind of get the whole
So you
idea.
know now I'm not. Even
I had the Chromebook, I had the Windows devices, all that stuff, and, I'm not gonna wade in those waters, because that's not the hat I'm wearing here. So, but I think that anytime you're looking at this type of thing, you're already down this road, so, like, backing out of it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Also, to me, putting it in CIP doesn't make a lot of sense, because something like this, you're looking at longevity. This is something that has to be repeatable, not 5 years, but 20, 30, 40. You've made that jump already. Going back is not really a feasible option. So I look at this and I don't know, in the corporate world, we're spinning laptops out 42 months tops. 5 years, okay, you're stretching it, fine. If you can make that work, that works, that's, I think it's cost effective. So, I don't know, I guess we should look into it.
Oh, no, I definitely think you should look into it.
I agree. I also agree with Cindy that I'd like to see a couple different options to see, if the cost and if the options are still there, the programs and stuff, so.
So if you're all open to it, how about I make this suggestion, if the timeline fits, is that maybe our next meeting, which is March, that we have Ty come and.
That's when they'll present
Oh,
out,
that's
right? Is it the
right.
21st?
That would be a busy night.
Board of Edit out
yeah.
by the end of that night.
Shoot. All right, so maybe the next month after that, just have, maybe the thing would be, is to have Ty come with the presentation, with the different things, and the prices and all that go along with it, and then that night we can decide whether it looks like it's a good idea to do the 5 years, or is it a good idea to buy out the first, to just get them the first year, and then do 2 and 3, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But have him here and have him present the whole kit and caboodle.
I think maybe one thing I missed too, when is your time, are you looking to replace
Yeah,
for?
that's what I was
That's
gonna
why
say.
I was-
There was
yeah,
a bit of a
that's why-
timeline concern.
They died
there to
June
me.
30th. Our warranty's over.
So we would have to.
So
Yeah.
for
So- that's why I
September
said
or
March,
whatever
but
school
then-
starts, August.
July
whatever.
1. We would actually need the new devices in the summer so that our IT folks could get them all. They would need, we'd need to be able to purchase in a timely manner so they could all be imaged and they could be inventoried and be ready to be distributed before school started.
So, yeah, but if we did April, and then you would just have to send it to town meeting, so you still would, you would have to be quick, but you would.
You can do it.
So
Yeah.
you're just asking for the first year? See, that's what I'm not, you can't go into
No,
a
no,
lease
no,
agreement.
he's gonna, I'm saying have Ty bring
Yeah, all
what
the
you
options.
asked for, all the options, more detail and all of that, so we can all discuss it and decide where to go. But right now, this is just kind of an outline that she
Yeah,
did to say,
basic
this is what we
info.
need. Are you open to this? So,
So can we do a supplemental appropriate, that's what we were talking about, for the, could we do something that is like ongoing like this? You would have to do a special town meeting every year, and then how but you can't make it, you can't sign something if you don't know you got it.
Right, if we
Like-
committed to the lease.
So that's why I'm like,
right.
I
that would
don't
be-
understand how the funding would.
But we don't have to worry about funding right now. that would be April's meeting to sit in, tear apart, and figure out where we would go. You really can't do any of that without ties and tire.
Well, and there is all that extra ECS money. One of the options could potentially be putting that in a non-lapsing account, which would cover this for many
Multiple
years.
Right. But who knows?
That's the kind of thing I need.
That would be an option.
So honestly, then it would just be,
Right.
and if we had the option of a non-lapsing, then we could potentially contribute.
Go ahead. I know you're sitting there, but at the
No,
bit.
it's just hitting our ECS grant though. I mean, they've taken away, the renter's rebate, the town portion came right out of our ECS grant.
Yeah. Well, and that's all the
Well,
sorts of things.
And we got hit
Yeah.
too, because
Yeah.
the Alliance grant was reduced. So, but it's still
You know, and they're
significantly.
still at it though.
Well, and that's the hard part.
Correct.
They're-
You know,
Yeah, definitely.
you don't
Just-
really know
Right, and
when it's
I,
gonna end.
It's a floating,
I don't think it's ever gonna end, yeah. Frankly.
floating target.
if this does anything, which I say this with a big caveat next to it, right now, the FY, the projections are that we will be level funded for ECS because we are still an Alliance district. So, but we were level funded until they took a little bit this year too. But it was a little bit.
Yeah.
But we, you know.
Okay, more.
But
Many
because
times
we are an
it
Alliance.
could have been much worse, yes.
But because we are an Alliance district, they are maintaining that language that we will have level funded ECS.
It's funny that we're happy that we were.
Yeah,
Right. So true.
it has really, in the long haul, been very beneficial,
Yeah.
allowed us to do a lot of good things for the students.
Yes.
That would have been virtually impossible
Yeah, it
otherwise.
was, right.
So, I don't know if anybody has any other.
Anything else? So yeah, so we'll put it on the agenda for April,
And he'll have his research done.
and he'll be all researched and all, everything ready to go. We'll be good to go.
So, just for the sake of full disclosure, if it ends up that the Board of Ed has to absorb the lease payment, that we are already looking at staff cuts for next year, projecting. If we look at the history of
Yep.
things, we would be looking at about 15 staff reductions. So if we had to absorb another 60,000
In year
cost-
one.
Yeah, in year one. That,
That's essentially another staff person.
just in, if things will end up the way they end up, but you will have already heard our budget presentation by the time this, so we would have to make an adjustment after the
Gotcha.
fact, if that's how things end up. Okay?
Thank you.
Did we make it?
Yeah, by 5 minutes.
Oh,
My
you.
mother thanks you, she doesn't have to
Your
walk
sister
all-
thanks you for not having to.
Yeah.
Oh, those are good ones.
Okay. So if anybody has any questions?
Okay.
Yeah, if any other
Great.
questions come up, by all means, email them to Chris and we'll make sure we can get them answered in April so that we can make a timely decision.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you guys very much, and thank you for moving it.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
So, on to monthly reports. Gail, you are up.
Well, we're gonna have a couple of transfers. I just found out about another one today that I'll be bringing to you next week.
Next week.
I mean, next month.
What, did I forget something?
I'm still trying to figure out where I'm gonna get it from, but, so the main one is legal. We basically, the transfer that I've got in there for approval now would just cover what we've got already, we've received for services through January. So, we're gonna have to talk about how we're gonna fund the rest of the year after that. My recommendation only went that far. We're going to be also having an OPEB under insurance and pension with Carol Medor's payout.
I'm gonna need about another $4,200 on that line to cover her payout. She's one of the people that have been here for a long time, and so she's under the contract provision where she gets like full payout of sick leave, things like that, that have been written out of the contract since then, so. It looks like we are very close to getting a ratified contract with Public Works, so we're gonna be doing the calculations as well. Without a ratified contract, we can't budget for salary increases. So we'll have retro for 1 year, right? Back
Yeah.
to, yeah, 1 year. So I'll be calculating the retro pay for all the Public Works people. Which we did plan some from contingency, so, for that. But we have a very lean contingency this year.
What is it?
50,000, so, is a contingency. On the revenue side, so far, we are projected to get more than what we went with the governor's very conservative revenue projections, so we are on target to get more money from the state than we budgeted for. We have been hit by a few things. The 70,000 elderly tax relief wasn't funded in the budget, so that is something that is an unfunded mandate that we will not be receiving. They did hit the ECS grant for the renter's rebate portion. 50% of that is coming out of the ECS grant, which is roughly, I think, about $35,000 to $40,000. Building permits, as you can see, the casino has not come in yet. We are $100,000 over budget for revenue in new building permits so far. And that was a lot because of the new senior housing.
Yeah. Over on 140.
Yeah, across from Jeffrey. Yeah, across from Jeffrey. So there are bright spots. There's also big things that we're gonna have to cover, so.
Is the town planner expected to use their professional services budget? There's 12,000 there.
I think she's got a grant to cover a lot of that.
That's
I don't
true.
know
She got
exactly
a-
what was earmarked for that.
She got a $130,000 grant for,
The POCD, right?
well, for House Point in particular.
Yeah.
But I don't know about what her budget is and where it stands right now.
There's 12,000 unexpended,
Yeah.
which is a good portion of it, I think, 80, 70%, I don't know. And usually you ask about what's overexpended, I'm asking about what's not.
Yeah.
In selectmen, toner, $10,000.
That we usually purchase towards the end of the year, and we try and get through the year with it,
And it's all the departments, right?
Yeah,
Did
that's
that
toner
get-
for all
That
of
got
the-
centralized to the,
central supply.
yep.
Town planner has 80% left in the professional services, 12,000.
I'll be looking at the assessor budget because there's a little bit of a lag before the new assessor starts. So I'll see if there's some of that money from the assessor's salary line that we can use to the OPEB line to help offset. So,
Is the police department coming about overtime? Getting close.
They're not here yet.
But that's something that's gonna
They're
happen.
down to
probably.
11% left.
yeah, they've got some vacancies, so they usually try and project or make recommendations of where we're gonna get the money from.
So we'll have extra money in the salary category for vacancies.
There could potentially, yeah. Which is probably what's triggering a lot of the overtime as well.
Right.
So.
Yep. Something I want to discuss, but I think that can wait until next week. Any questions?
No, I looked through them and
Yep. Pretty straightforward.
pretty straightforward.
Anybody else? Any questions, thoughts, comments? All right. That's your baby.
Maybe.
That is. That is.
I will move we approve a transfer request number 11 for the tax collector department to move $300 from educational dues to the travel category.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion clearly passes.
I'll move we approve transfer request number 12 for the tax collector department, an amount of $129.46 from education dues to supplies and equipment.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion clearly passes.
I'll move we approve transfer request number 13 for legal of $26,000 from workers' comp to labor relations.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
And I'm assuming this is for all the negotiations of contract and pension and whatever.
Yeah.
We're gonna be going into that in executive
Yeah,
session.
you're gonna have more information on legal and, well, actually under new business and then also an executive session, so. But yes, pension negotiations, labor negotiations. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I move we,
Was there an opposition?
I don't think so.
No, I just said I late. Thank you.
Sorry, Meg, I didn't even hear her. Good ears.
Did Cindy ever get put in for Al back then?
no, actually, no, we're still running Alan, actually, we never did make a motion to put Cindy in.
Have you?
I don't
yeah.
think you have to.
Well, we did make it, the motion was to.
Yeah, when she, till she
Until
arrived, so we were okay.
I move we approve transfer request number 14 for legal of $3,000 from liability insurance to town council.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion clearly passes. Okay, on to Broadbrook Fire Truck Repair. Hello.
Oh, no, I printed that too. It's not the original, just a color copy here, so.
I think we have, I did get it. We did get it.
Yeah, we got a copy of it.
We did.
A little history on what happened. A couple
Yep.
weeks ago, the truck was on its way over to Wells Point for a fire at a shredding place. It was the name of it, Info Shred. On the way over, the truck started to do a little skipping. They got to the fire, they did their pumping, truck was skipping. They called, they called me, so I called the company we do business with, Fleet Masters, to send a man out and do road test on it, or service on it. He said to bring it to their facility after the fire we did. And they spent one day on it, diagnosing it, and their conclusion was we needed to go to Atlantic Detroit, which is a certified Detroit dealer. They found a bad camshaft in it, a broken rocker, Nevada Jetter. So the bill, as you can see, is $6,200 minus the tax, I take the tax off. For the Atlanta Detroit work, there was another $868 for fleet masters. The truck has to be repump tested, because any engine altercations has to be recertified for the NFPA. And on the fleet masters bill, the two was, one was a road test, the road call, and the other one was what they tried to diagnose with it. So it's a $7,000 price tag. So I was looking to either add appropriation or however you do it to repair this truck.
Now, that said,
Yeah. So I think you had thought that you had 19,000
Right.
left. When we looked at your budget, you've actually got 29,000 left.
Right, which has got about $12,000 or $15,000 outstanding bills coming in
Right.
for 1.5 trucks worth of work for
Right.
this year. Which I still got 2 more to send out for the annuals, which runs around $4,000 to $6,000 a piece.
so you have 12,000 for the annuals, we'll go on the high side.
Okay, I've got to buy 10 tires for one of the trucks, which is about $2,500. I got $3,000 in fuel. And whatever else happens.
Yep. So we're around about 18. All right, so you, just quickly in your head, looking at what you have left for the year is about $18,000, rounding upwards. And there's 29,000 in there now, and for the truck we need 7, right?
Right.
So, just right now, there's clearly the 7 that you could use.
Mm-hmm.
So, rather than do the added appropriation for this, I would say we run it to where, and I'm just talking, we have to put it to a vote, someone talk to you about it. Gail is feeling confident that if she started to see that your bills were coming in too fast, or not too fast, but, and you were starting to get way too low, that we could make a quick adjustment at that time. So that's one thing she was suggesting, and we were talking about, so.
I know in past years, and this year you cut $1,500 out of that budget. In past years, that budget runs pretty close to.
Yep, yep.
So the added 7,000, and I just lost a truck the other day, I had to put 4 batteries in one, which is probably $600-700.
Yeah. Now, I know a big, because I was at the selectmen meeting, I know a big bone of the contention was the 3-bid process not being followed.
Which,
So explain.
I have clarification on that.
Yep.
Atlantic Detroit is state bid, so I don't need to do anybody, plus they're a Detroit deal, the engine's Detroit.
If you're gonna go to another dealer, they're gonna probably go to Atlantic Free Ply to get the parts for it.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with what you did. Your truck repairs are different than car repairs. You're very limited what you can go and what you can do.
Especially when it comes to fire,
Yeah.
the worst.
Yeah, the worst, yeah. So, because some garages don't even want to be certified to do fire trucks. And there's only certain places, so you can, if there's 10 places with fire trucks, there's probably 3, so you're fine.
We're just clarifying, because
Yep.
it was a bone of contention.
Yep.
To make sure we knew. Okay. Anybody questions, or? I don't think it's a question whether we need it, it's how we want to fund it, or
Yeah, that's
how we
fine.
want to. I mean, it kind of goes without saying, it needs to get done. Period.
You can't get 3 bids.
You gotta talk about it.
I said it's almost impossible to get 3 bids to repair this. I mean, like you said, you send it to a shop, they gotta take the motor apart to figure out what's wrong with it, and then you send it to another shop,
Which they already
they
did.
put the motor back together again, and then tow it to another shop, and you're racking up more money. And then another shop are gonna probably contact where it's at right now for the parts for it. So they're gonna buy them, and then they're gonna probably mark the parts up to do it. So, I mean, you're at basically where you need to be as a certified Detroit diesel repair shop that can do it. I mean, there's other shops around that can do it, but they're gonna have to source the parts through probably where the truck is sitting right now.
And in reality, he could do it within his own budget right now. He's just at this point in time thinking he's gonna be coming really close by the end of the by the end of the time, it doesn't want to hit that wall. So,
If it comes to the end of the year and you need the money, though, for added appropriation has to be a thing. It can't be
Right.
like,
it would have to be.
it can't be just like, oh, I'm going over budget and I
Nope,
need this
it would
much
have to be
more.
like his tire or something, very similar to what it is, yes, correct.
So where do you draw that line? Because like say you've drawn his budget line down to $2,000, but all of a sudden he gets a $6,000 repair that takes a truck out of the line. He can't, by law, encumber the $6,000 because he doesn't have it, right? So
Right.
like, we don't want to put ourselves in that position, right?
But later in the year too, you're gonna see where you're gonna have budget lines that you could transfer within, rather than actually increasing the budget with an added appropriation.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, where does the alarm bell start going off? Is
Yeah.
it when you got 5,000 left, you got 6,000 left?
Yeah.
You know,
Well, and right now, Justin, this is him doing a quick estimate in his head, yes, there's 29,000 left, but he pretty much already has 19,000 spent, so he's really, with only 10,000 sitting in there anyways, take out the truck, repair 7, so he really would be sitting with 3,000 somewhere soon. So.
Get a lot of legal bills coming up too, right?
Yes, we do.
I'll move to do what's the supplemental appropriation or not?
Well, that's what you guys want.
I'll
Is it
move
going
to-
to be a supplemental appropriation, or is? In reality, it's $7,200. Does it have to go to town meeting? It says to town meeting in their motion. But it's under,
12,000.
it's under
I think it's under 20.
20.
20.
20.
20. So I'm
Can
not
you
sure
do
why,
a
I mean, we
appropriation
can
for under
fix that,
20?
but
I think you can, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just doesn't have to go to town
it
meeting.
just doesn't have to go to town meeting.
So I'll move to do a
Not sure.
supplemental appropriation for $7,000, or not to exceed $7,200 for the fire truck repair for Brockville Fire Department.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, any
Is
more,
that gonna be enough? Is there any
Any-
way it could be higher?
any more discussion?
No, that's the price. You owe it.
Any more discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
3 in favor, 2 opposed. Motion passes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night. On to legal fees. That's because,
I think you last two, we got 11 and 12.
Oh, you did? Oh, your transfers? She only got the top
It's in
two.
the second.
Second.
The second packet.
The one that you picked up.
Where the
Yes,
minutes
were. The one you picked up last night. Minutes.
Don't include everything.
Probably that. Look on that one.
Excuse me. Double checking your-
There was,
Doing this, this, that.
and which one?
I'll make a
You
motion
don't-
for
you
5
don't-
minutes.
I just don't want to.
I move we take a 5-minute break.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So we have a question
Get your votes back tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I just, no, I've watched these. I watched them. They're in these kinds of- I try to do them on YouTube, so I can really- when they talk about the drivers. Under the 31, there was something with volunteers and
So they pay, each time somebody goes out, they pay. Oh, okay.
Okay, so this Sheraton didn't, at the beginning of the year, they had, they expected they were gonna get, a treasurer. So it must have been in the budget. So there should be a lot of money.
Paying, you have to be paying Gail.
Yeah. The whole shooting more.
I don't know if they had to replace her position because she's doing attorney.
I don't think they hired anyone else, did they?
No.
One night, oh, I'm sorry. I don't have one, no way. And expended how much, 107? I just would have thought that would have been normal.
Are white computers the new thing, Alan?
I buy them refurbished. They're a lot cheaper. You go to DellRefurbished.com. So whatever color it is,
It is.
it is. And then when I get sick of it, I fling it in the river and get another one. But yeah, it's like, kind of gives it that apple flavor.
Well, hers is white too, and I don't usually see white, so I was like,
that's
wow, is this a new
And it's
new
an
trend?
Well, we are very trendy.
Where do we, oh, under insurance. Okay,
So this is like all the benefits,
yeah.
except some of this is like, well, hypertension isn't for everybody. I think that's just something they just get police to hold.
Oh, okay, all right, okay, all right, thank you.
This is always a hot item, it's part of the contract. They're trying to phase it out.
Hey, Meg, how are you?
It's one of those weird things. There's only one that is. All of them are gonna be outstanding by the time we do our budget, so we won't have any errors.
We can guess.
It makes it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when you start throwing darts, right?
Yeah. Doing it like the state does it.
So am I confused asking about the Chromebook?
Well, no, I mean, sure, others have done it, but for me, I mean, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. But when they're already down one path, this is my concern with switching to something like a Chromebook is everybody, including the teachers, don't know what they're doing already. So then if you ask them to change technology, then you have a problem, right?
I know, because it's a way different thing. I have a hard time using my daughter's
Right.
phone or understanding how
Exactly.
she does homework and stuff
Exactly.
like that.
And then there's a bunch of compatibility issues, you know, and I own a lot of it, but I, know that operating system, you know,
But it's definitely more, the Chromebook is more limited to what you can do because it doesn't have much memory, it doesn't have any memory.
Oh, certainly, yeah, it's definitely, I mean, you're definitely all in the cloud.
But that makes sense, that helps me understand why.
Yeah, I mean, it is,
What is today?
it's cheaper on one side, but more expensive on the other, because you're gonna be paying more on the cloud storage side, you need more expertise to deal with it, it's less secure, in that environment. I mean, it could be more secure, but with kids and teachers,
Your back discount?
no security.
Are you going here?
Sure. What, no
Okay.
security?
Kids and teachers.
Oh.
Not that it's a bad thing.
We've had a Board of Ed member click on that nasty email and then got themselves locked out of email for a while. They got tricked.
We're gonna call this meeting back to order at 8:04 p.m. As far as legal, Gail has just told me that for this meeting, we're going to have to do most of legal in executive session, so we will do that in the executive session, and then we'll kind of do a synopsis next month. So we'll move on to D, which is budget calendar. How is the selectmen doing on their timeline of their,
Well, we're scheduled to have our last meeting the 28th of February. No, yes. But I think we're going to schedule meetings after that, in March 5th. Just to go over everything we've done, basically.
so you have one on Thursday, right, tomorrow? Okay, and then one the 28th, and you think you're gonna go into March?
Yes.
All right. Which is, and then March 21st is both of your presentations. And then we have our hearing on the 28th with a workshop immediately following the hearing. Now, are we okay in this room on the 28th?
What day of the week is that?
It is a Wednesday, but it's the fourth Wednesday of the month. Okay, what about now Thursday, the 29th, we have a Board of Finance workshop. Are we okay in here? Okay. Then the next one scheduled is April 3rd, which is a Tuesday, which at one time we wouldn't be okay, but are we okay now? We put one on the 11th, which is school vacation. I don't know how that's gonna ride for me, but that doesn't mean anything, so I would say don't move it yet. You know, we can, as time goes. And our final budget has to go on April 18th. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 workshops. 5 including the one that's on the 11th. And it's not that we can't schedule another one if we find out we haven't made it far enough along to where we want to be. So I think for now, did we do a starting time on that? On those?
7 o'clock.
7, right? Because yeah, I'll never get from Farmington to here, it's 6. So let me just write 7 PM start time too, so I don't forget.
Carolyn, you usually like us to be present on the night that you have our workshop, so if you could try to give me as much notice for that as possible.
Yeah,
so
what I
can
think,
Figure out availability.
yeah, what I think we'll try to do is on the 21st, after it gets presented, we also have our meeting that day. So what we'll do is try to then kind of set an outline up of what nights we'll be talking to each, because typically the Board of Ed comes, the police commission, the police come, and everybody still does present to us if they want to present to us. Some choose not to present to us. They've already presented to the Board of Selectmen and they're fine with that, and they choose not to present to us. It behooves people to be here, because if you have a question and it can't be answered, it tends to be a problem for them, not for us. So, but it's their choice. It's, you know, but what we try to do is create an outline so that they know what day we're going to be discussing that budget, so that they can be here, so that they don't have to be here for all 4 or 5 who wants to do that.
I do have a conflict for the 29th. I hate not being days.
Well, we're limited on days is the unfortunate part, because of the timeline. So actually what I would say, Cindy, on the 21st, when we're discussing the lineup, we'll try to, you know, we can try to make it one that it's not too.
Actually, could just be their light, so it's good.
Yeah, so we could set it up to be, you know, other stuff. Any other questions about the budget calendar? All right. 10A is the treasurer position. Tuesday, Wednesday. Was it Wednesday? I don't write it on my calendar. It's Tuesday, right? 27th. Oh, that's right, because I have to be at Aegis on the 28th. Okay, and you're in New York, so that's why I had to, yeah, okay. All right, so we have interviews on the 27th. And Bob put together the panel, so hopefully, if work works out for me, I'll be there, because Mr. Sines has to be somewhere else. So,
Cindy did say that she would be available.
Okay, I'll let you know if something happens with work. And have you pinch it, if I can't get the morning off. Bob, do you know what time she started the interviews? I haven't gotten an email yet.
Yeah, usually she starts them at like 9:30,
Yeah.
but I don't know when she's scheduled.
All right, cool. If she has scheduled, can you have her shoot me just a quick email so I
Yes.
can try to juggle work? Cool, thanks. All right, I'm not sure why casino, did we just agree to keep casino fund there,
Yeah,
or?
those were two standing items.
Yeah. As far as casino fund, the selectmen did an ordinance on their last meeting, and it has to go to, town meeting, right?
Right.
So a town meeting, it will be, do we know what day, not yet?
No, not at all.
Okay.
We can get through our budget. Just start thinking
Yeah.
about that.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, so that brings us on to our board member comments. So, actually, what wants to start first?
We forgot 9E, the.
Oh, yours, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, 9E.
That's
Look, I
right.
wrote E and it's a blank,
Okay.
so go ahead. So very sorry, that is my fault for screwing up the order.
Sorry.
Next time, just yell at me when it gets to 9E. It's not a problem.
Is there a reason why it wasn't on the agenda? Was it just an oversight or?
Yeah, it was an oversight.
That's okay, well, good. Good that you caught it.
Thank you.
So why don't you kind of explain to us, Sarah, what happened at the meeting and what it was and...
Yeah, there's a charter revision study committee, and there was a motion made to have a paid recording secretary take their minutes. And I had asked where the money would be coming from, and Mr. Maynard replied that it would be up to us to kind of make that decision, but he suggested the selectmen's he suggested the salary would come from the first selectman's budget.
Professional services. I think it's like where we funded veterans in the past, when they added the Veterans Commission, and they approved, they were paid out of the selectmen's professional services line.
Popular lately.
No, it's work. And I tried to find back in my notes for sure. So was it supposed to be on the agenda?
I don't know. Were you thinking that you had enough in there to do that?
Well, we'll have to see. I'll get out the budget now.
Is this just a study committee or the actual?
No, it's just a study committee.
You have 7393 left in there, 7,300.
And the professional services.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think we can probably, it'll be close, but
Like it,
we'll take it out of that. It'll only be for this year, what it's gonna be, let's see, March, April, May, June. So, yeah, I think we get it out of there.
I think that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, well, I was just questioning it, because there's 9 members and 2 alternates. So I thought one of them could take their own minutes, just like the 250th or some of those other.
yeah, it's a committee, it's not a board.
This is a study.
Why
committee,
should they
so-
have a secretary? I'm confused. What was the basis, Bob, of putting a secretary on a committee?
Study the
When there's
revision.
9 in, huh?
So this is a study committee, and then after the study committee makes recommendations, then a revision committee forms?
Somewhere
Yeah, charter
along the line.
revision. They're looking into the charter, and if they think it needs a revision, and probably they will, they'll say specifically what
Then you'll
they
have to
think
create a,
should be revised.
yeah, then you'll have to, then they have to make a charter revision commission.
Who's taking the minutes now? One of the members?
No, they have a secretary now.
Oh, they do.
But they can't
They get,
be
they're
paid.
not paid?
Well, they're being paid from my budget.
If he can afford it out of his budget, it doesn't have to be approved by us. So out of his budget it comes.
an
You know, I
answer.
have one thought on that. I've been to all 3 charter revisions, and the volunteers spent a year and a half on it. And I thought we had a good secretary among the people, and I don't know why this happened, but apparently this was a brilliant cookie. This guy really knew what he was doing. And the selectmen took this year and a half work without reading it, without bothering it, and made a very open thing, and the board of selectmen were throwing it in the trash. Nobody even read it, and as far as I was concerned, the people that did this hadn't even bothered understanding the charter itself. I read this, so I question this, because I don't know if the same thing will happen with this board, that get thrown in the trash without looking. That's a lot of volunteer time for a year and a half. I know when I went home and I thought the suggestions were quite good. Everyone understand now, similar suggestions that this board made are coming through on this present study group. And another thing that bothers me, the study group, I don't see much of anybody coming to these meetings to see what's going on, to understand the 200%, what we go through, or understand any of the meetings going down. I think that's a complete change. As I said, the recorder was doggone good. Nobody looked at it. So, are we going to have the same problem with this study group? Especially if you've got to transfer it to other people who haven't watched the study group.
It's kind of funny, you're having a study for the study,
Yeah.
and then we're paying for the study by paying a recording secretary, and I don't get it.
I don't either.
Veterans Commission had a real
I don't
sweat to
either.
get there.
Doesn't make any sense.
There's 11
But-
people that could take it. Choice of.
But it's like any department, if they can afford it out of their own budget, it's their budgetary dollars, so.
Should be interesting.
Okay,
Mhm.
alrighty. All right, so on to board member comments. Okay,
Just
is
made a
that your
comment.
comment? Does it work for you? Anything else on it?
Oh, good.
How many applicants for treasurer are there?
3.
Okay, because I thought at the meeting you said there were 5.
I thought there were 2,
Oh,
but there's 3.
okay.
Anything?
Commented out.
Your comments about?
I'll pass.
All right, Kathy, are you good to go?
Not quite. I got one thing, it's a little bit off, but the last few meetings we've been to, there's been somebody come to that door, giving the,
Yeah.
thank
What
you,
was that?
giving the finger, sorry, my
You know,
terminology.
Bob was
wipe it
over
off.
here, but did you see him?
And
No, I didn't, I
swearing.
heard the noise.
What did he get?
I don't know, some younger guy. I
Yeah.
tried to chase him down that one night.
He like slammed up against the door and did a little
Oh, he's very
profanity
verbal.
and
I'm kind of waiting
ran
for
off.
it tonight, and this is my entertainment, so.
He like went jumping a mile. We were in the back and he was right there and he slammed on the window and I was like, wow. Yeah, I don't know what he was doing. He was
And
coming for
Could
a
be
visit.
just kids being
Three
kids.
ladies sitting back there, we all sat
That's
there.
pretty funny,
Are you
actually.
ready to go home? Sure. Do you want to go out in that parking lot? Not necessarily. Well, 2 or 3 of us
Yeah, it
went,
was
and
very
don't throw
uncomfortable.
cars. No
I knew
volume,
Bob
no
was gonna
police.
stop it.
I just, I'm getting us in trouble again.
All right.
I've been attending as many of the Board of Selectmen workshops as I can. I find the presentations to be very detailed and informative, and yeah, I went last night, and I went to one a couple weeks ago as well. I'm glad I did.
Great.
You know,
Awesome.
you know.
All right. Well, that is it for this evening. If everybody's all set to move into executive session.
Whoopee.
I think you did,
Do I?
making a motion to go in and
You
out.
said I have to. You're my Robert's rule.
You need a motion to go in, but you don't need
No.
one to come out, because you can't make a motion in executive session.
Right, exactly. That part I know.
I move we go
Once you come out, you can make
Is there a second?
motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Bob, I don't know how to shut that off, so I'm gonna leave that up
Oh,
to you.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
In case
That would defeat the
Probably
purpose.
shouldn't run that during executive session, eh?
Absolutely, ma'am.